Hi. So hi guys, welcome to the Linux session. Okay, Linux. I splitted this core Linux part into four, right? Into four. That means around two classes. Okay, so Linux. So in Linux, what are the topics we will discuss? We'll discuss about the introduction, why Linux, how the DevOps engineer will use this Linux. Okay. Second, we will discuss about file hierarchy, how the file structure in the Linux. Okay. The third topic we'll discuss about users and groups. Okay, how to create a user, how to create a group. Okay, so we'll discuss that. Okay, tables and types. Okay, and then we'll see files. Okay, uh, we'll discuss file hierarchy and we'll discuss about the permissions for the document, right? Files, how you'll provide it. Okay, and we'll discuss here how to create files and folders, how to manage those. We'll discuss, and we'll discuss about the again. We'll discuss about the package management, how to install a software in Linux. Okay. So, and the networking and troubleshooting. Okay, how networking and troubleshooting the issues in Linux. So around it will take 3 hours, guys. Okay, it's split it into two classes. Okay, 1.5 hour and 1.5 hour. Okay. So yeah, let's start that Linux. So why most of the DevOps engineers or most of the DevOps projects we are using Linux? So the because Linux is a secure operating system. We have different operating systems, right? We have Windows, we have Mac OS, and we have Linux, right? The operating system. Whenever you start your server, whenever you boot your laptop, the operating system is loading, right? Operating system is loading, right? So right, so the operating system is loading, right? So the right, so operating system is loading, so it can be, right, anything, right? Whether you can use Windows, whether you can use Linux. But why most of the DevOps projects, right, they are using Linux? So because, as I said, the advantages. So Linux is, right, so more secure. Okay, and it is multi-user operating system. Multiple users can connect, multiple users can work on it. Okay, multiple users can work on it. Okay, so we'll call it as, right, more secure, and it is a multi-user operating system. Multitasking, multiple users can connect, right, and they can do multiple tasks as well at a time. Multitask, right, multitasking operating system. Okay, the very important advantage is it is open source. That means anyone can download, anyone can install it. Okay, that's the main reason, right? That's the main thing in DevOps project. Okay, so right, so there are different types of Linux. There are different types. We can call it as flavors. We can call it as flavors of Linux. Okay, so we have Red Hat flavor. This is one of the type. You know how Windows we have 2012, 2016, 2019, right? Right. Similarly, right? So, right, the Red Hat operating system. The Red Hat is one of the flavor, and we have, right. CentOS is one of the flavor. Okay, Red Hat, CentOS, and we have, okay, Amazon Linux, Amazon Linux. Okay, right, so etc. So we have Ubuntu as well. This is one of the type. Okay, so we'll see all these in our classes. Okay, so how to utilize it. Okay, these are different types, or we can call it as layers. Okay, the main advantages, right, of DevOps, right, as I said, open source, more secure, multi-user, multitasking, right? The only thing people are uncomfortable with the commands, right? So because there is a black screen, right? So I would say Linux, right, is a CLI, right? CentOS, etc. It's a CLI, right? Most of the people are not, right? Uh, right, feeling that it is a CLI, and Windows is a GUI. GUI means graphical user interface. You can see these, you can click on it, right? You can comfortable with that. But here in Linux, the problem you're facing, like sometimes, right? So commands, right? CLI, command line interface, commands, right? So, but if you are interested, if you are right, uh, interested to learn commands, which is very very easy. If you want to install anything in Windows, it will take around multiple clicks, right, to install. But Linux is a simple command. Okay, there is a simple command to right install it. Single command. Okay, so that is the main advantage. So people are comfortable with uncomfortable with the commands, but if you are have ease to interest, right, interest to learn this is very very easy. Okay, which is very very easy. Okay, so yeah, that is the main advantage. That is the main advantage of Linux. Okay, so right, so what I will do, I want you guys to create your AWS account. If not, please create it. Okay, please create the AWS account. I already showed you, right? So please create your AWS account. Okay, and we can use AWS account, right? I connected to it, so I can use EC2 is one of the service. Okay, virtual servers in the cloud. So I will create a Linux server. Okay, so I will show how it will, right, how to right, how to work with that. Okay, so but you have to know the architecture as well. Linux architecture. Okay, architecture, right? So the Linux architecture is, okay, the Linux architecture is having three important components. Three important components, let's see that. Consider this is your laptop. Consider this is your laptop. Okay, consider this is your laptop, right? So hardware. Okay, this is your hardware. This is your laptop hardware. Okay, so this is your laptop hardware. Okay, so whenever you install Linux, there is a layer is installed called kernel layer. This is heart of your Linux operating system. Okay, so whenever you install Linux in your hardware, the kernel layer is installed, and above the kernel layer there is a shell layer is running. Okay, and so this is shell layer. Okay, this is shell layer. Okay, so right, so on top of the right, whenever you connect Linux, there is a black screen, right? So we'll call that is a shell. On top of the shell, you will execute your commands, you will execute your applications, you will create your files, right? Multiple things you will. Okay, so the main important, the heart of the Linux is kernel, and the shell where you will execute the commands. The architecture will be like this. So there will be a hardware. On top of the hardware, kernel layer is running. On top of the kernel, right, the shell layer is running, right? So this is the right architecture and introduction. So we'll see how the file structure. In Windows, right, you have a C drive. In the C drive, you have uh, logs, right, Windows users. But similarly, how the file hierarchy of Linux, we'll see that. So could you please note this down? I will give some 5 minutes. Just note this down. Okay, I hope you drawn the diagram as well. So let's continue. Let's continue. Okay. So we have, right? I connected to AWS account. Let me launch a server. Let me click on launch instances. So number of servers, I want one server, right? The server name, I would say Linux server. Okay. And there are multiple flavors offered by AWS. We have, this is your OS selection, right? OS, you can select here. If you want Amazon Linux, in Amazon Linux there are different versions again. 2023, right? Two, right? So, right, right. So, right. So, and we have Red Hat, we have SUSE Linux, okay, and right. So, and we have Ubuntu, right? In Ubuntu we have different types, right? Ubuntu Pro, right? And we have Red Hat. In Red Hat we have different flavors, okay, okay, right? So we have different types, we have different flavors, right? So and right, so let me go with any type. I will go with Amazon Linux, okay. So Linux, right, is an operating system, right? In Linux we have, right, as I said, different flavors, right? So if you want to connect to a Linux server, there is a port should be opened called SSH. We will call it as secure shell port. We'll call it as 22. This port needs to be open. If you see, I'm going with 1 GB RAM and I'm going with a password as a file. Okay, I'm going with the test user. Okay, so the networking. So the networking, right? So so here, what happened? The VPCs by mistake deleted someone. So let me go to other region. Okay, okay. I think it will be good here. Why she deleted everything? Okay, let me log out and let me sign into the account. Okay, okay, I just connected. So let me go to EC2. Okay, let me go to EC2. Let me go to instances. Okay, so here, okay, no issue. So let's create a server, launch instance, one server. Okay, name is some Linux server. Amazon Linux I want to create 1 GB RAM server and I would like to use the existing key pair. Okay. Yeah, it's a Linux server. The 22 port should be opened as I said, right? So by default the 22 port gets opened, right? So this is SSH 22 port. SSH 22 port. Okay. Right. Uh, yeah. So anyway, let me click on next. 8 GB the hard disk. Okay. Let me launch the server. Okay. We go to instances. Okay, right. So let me refresh. You can see the server. It is in running state. Okay, it is in running state. So let me connect. As I said, there are multiple methods to connect to Linux server, right? So you can use putty, you can use git bash, right? So methods to connect to Linux server. We have right. We have putty, we have git bash, and we have instance connectivity. We have instance connectivity. Okay. So here we have right here we have the instance connectivity. I will show you. So just select the server. If you want to connect to Linux, click on connect, right? Instance connectivity. I'm connecting as a EC2 hyphen user. This is the public IP address. Let me connect to it. Let me connect to it. Okay. Yeah. So here this is a welcome message and this is your username. I can as a EC2 hyphen user. This is the DNS name. This is a login prompt. Okay, this is a user prompt like dollar. Okay, so you can see this information here. What is this? Let's see. We note down here. Whenever you connect to a Linux server, this EC-user is a username. User name. This is your DNS name, or we can call it as FQDN, fully qualified domain name. This is a user symbol. Okay, user symbol. So in Linux, there are two types of users: normal user and a super or root user. So normal user will not have full permission. Root or super will have full permission. They can do anything at server level, right? Full permission. Okay. Here restricted permissions. Okay, restricted. If you want, we can allow it. Okay, restricted. So normal users, the super user and the normal user. As I said, two users, right? So super and normal. So here normal user symbol is dollar and the root user symbol is hash. Root user symbols are hash. Okay, normal user symbol is dollar, right? Super user or root user is right full permission, which is having hash, which is having hash. Okay, but right now I connect as a EC2 hyphen user. How would I know? There is a command, guys. Who am I? You can see which user you are. EC2 hyphen user. But how I can connect a as a root user? You can use sudo su. This is a command. Sudo su. So you can see now we connect as a root user, right? What is the command? It is we'll call it as sudo su, right? That means switching user as a super user. Okay, we'll call it as sudo su. Switch user as a super user, right? So right, switch user as a super user, right? So as I said, right, as I said, consider this is Windows, this is Linux. So Linux port should be open. Which port? 22. Then only you can connect. We call it as SSH port, right? Secure shell. If it is a Windows, there is a port should be open 3382. That is nothing but RDP port. We call it as remote desktop. Remote desktop port. Okay. We'll call it as RDP. We'll call it as SSH. So can I just note down this? We'll see. Okay, I hope you have written, right? So we will see, right? We can see that in Windows, the user is admin user. In Linux, the admin here the super user, right? They can do anything, right? So, right, in Windows there is admin user. He will have full permission. In Linux there is a root user, right? I switched to root user using this command. Now I can check which user I am. Root. My symbol also changed. You can see hash it is dollar, right? So right. So Linux and Windows. For example, in Windows we have the C drive, right? We will call it as C drive. In Linux, we'll call it as a slash drive. Okay, slash disk or slash drive. Okay. So in Windows you can see that right here, right here you can see right the C drive, right? But in Linux, how to see that? In Linux, how to see that? In Linux, if you want to see that, okay, there is a command, okay, called def hyphen h. Disk free, disk free, right? How much disk is free with the headers? Okay, you can see that if you see, and also in instance level, also you can see if you see that this is your Linux server and your storage is 8, and your storage is 8 GB. Okay, the storage is 8 GB. Okay, and here if you see this df-h, right? df-h, and you can run that command df-h. You can see the remaining are temporary devices, guys. Just concentrate on the slash folder attached to disk. This is your disk name, file system name. Slash dev xpda1 8 GB is total size. Free, right? Used is 1.6 and availability is 6.5. 19% is used on which folder? Slash folder. On the slash folder, right? So as I said, right, slash drive is the main drive. How we have your Windows C drive having users, right, folders, different for users, Windows, right? Similarly, if you want to see the files in a slash folder, you can use ls command. Ls slash. What will happen? It will show you files under this slash folder. What are the files under? Out of the folders under that? Win, boot, devices, etc, home, right? So different files and folders are there in that. We'll call this is a file hierarchy. Hierarchy. File hierarchy. So here you can see bin folder. You can see boot folder. You can use device folder. So if you want to see files under again bin folder, you can use ls slash under bin folder is there. Let's see what are the files. These all are under files under boot folder, right? If you want to know your previous command, up arrow, okay? And if you want to see the files under boot folder, ls slash boot. The ls is a command in Linux which helps you to list the files, So, or if you want to know your full list, for example, ll is long list with full details. When it is created, you can see that. If you see ll, earlier you can see bin, boot, same folders, but here with ll long list, you can see full information, the permissions, right? Which user created, which group is running with this date, right? Like okay, like this, okay, which is there like this, okay. So the date, the permissions, the size of the file, okay, uh, right? The size of the file, which user created, which group is created, right? And the date and the time, right? You can see that, okay. So we'll call it as we'll call it as l, yes, right? ls is for short list, ll is for long list. And what are the files under that? We have bin, we have boot, we have dev, right? If you want particular folder information, you can use ll slash bin or slash boot, okay. So these are the list of files. We can call it as file hierarchy in Linux. Okay. Each folder will have its own uniqueness. You can see bin folder will have the user binary files. Boot folder will have the static files of booting. Dev folder will have device related files. etc folder host information. We'll see all this in the course. Okay. Home folder will have user home directories. Okay, that means ec2-user folder. You can see. For example, if I create a user add some Rashid. If you see, there is a Rashid folder get created. Earlier it is not there, but why it is created? I added that user. That user folder is created. Under which folder? Home. So each folder will have its own uniqueness. So lib folder will have the libraries. So media folder will have the removable media like pen drive or extra devices. MNT will have a mounted file system. Will have a mounted file system. OPT will have additional softwares, optional. SBIN system binaries, right? SRV, okay. So service related files, temp related files, user related files, right? Process related files. So each file which will have its own uniqueness. Okay. So I will share the material guys with you. Okay. So this is about right the each folder uses. Just note down the file's name at least. Just note down folder names. Just note down. I give some 2 to 3 minutes. So yeah, that's it for today. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay.